Plenty of boots containing soon-to-be sore feet have started from here in Milngavie next to this granite obelisk. 96 miles later, the trail arrives in Fort William, having passed through Drimmen, along the east shore of Loch Lomond, Trianlarich and Tyndrum, taking in Bridge of Orchy, Rannochmoor, Etivemore, Glencoe and of course the spectacular Devil's Staircase along the way. Each year, around 40,000 people rise to a challenge which seems to create a very personal reaction in each individual, and the West Highland Way Management Group is creating an online exhibition to capture some of those feelings. Curator Carol Matthews.
Something that's very special to me, such as a beautiful horizon line and a special light, somebody else might not appreciate that. They might appreciate a beautiful bridge and its construction. So I think everybody gets something different from the things that they see.
A lot of walks around the world can often have almost a spiritual level to the Camino de Santiago is perhaps most famous in that sense. Aside from just the exercise and seeing the scenery, is there a spiritual dimension, not necessarily religious spiritual, but just a kind of communion with something that people seem to report in what they're filing back to you?
I do think that there's a real emotional and strong sort of spirituality that comes through. People have created poetry, that they've been inspired by different things on the West Highland Way, music and beautiful drawings, oil paintings. Some of the stories have been really, really touching, where people have walked the way again and again and again, perhaps on special birthdays, on anniversaries. People have connected through it, the most wonderful love stories coming through.
This contribution, called The Highland Way, was sent in by Vermont-based harpist Bill Tobin. Other video contributions feature things like this: a river view at Bridge of Orchy, or wind and horizontal rain in the middle of nowhere. Here on the trail between Milngavie and Loch Lomond, people are usually heading north on their first day of the experience and the challenge.
As you're going day after day, you get into a kind of a routine, and then your brain starts to think of other things, and you kind of philosophise a bit on life and friends and whatever, and what it's all about.
Looking at the countryside, appreciating your environment, appreciating you as a human being, and just gradually achieving a result, which is we've done it and we're successful in it.
Yes, I suppose there is an element of that. You think when you're out with nature, you might just feel a bit more, see a bit more. And if there's a spiritual element, it is just being one with nature a bit.
I do feel very much more centred and more kind of content and more calm in myself. So I hoped by the end of this week to be feeling like a new woman.
Exercise, challenge, get away from work. For me, it's mostly avoiding blisters and good conversation, and hopefully a dram or two along the way. Probably as spiritual as I'm going to get is a Lafroig.
As well as a strong emotional impact, the West Highland Way is also an economic, social, charitable and cultural success, according to SNP MSP Gil Paterson, who represents Milngavie, where most start their trek from south to north. He introduced a motion to that effect in the Scottish Parliament.
Right in the middle of the shopping centre, there's hotels that rely on it now. Big business are suffering at the minute because of COVID, but in normal times it's a fantastic economic source, not just for my place here in Milngavie and Bearsden, but for the whole of Scotland. It brings an enormous amount of people. But this other thing is that in later life you realise what it's doing for your health, that you're participating in something, keeps you hale, keeps you happy, keeps you out of the hospital. We're not expecting it not to deliver now. It's 40 years of just being a joy to people.
After 40 years, they had hoped to have a series of events along the trail and a big party, but COVID-19 put paid to that. The one consolation is that, unlike the people on it, the West Highland Way isn't exactly going anywhere, so they can start planning a right old shindig for the 50th in 10 years' time.